welcome.
Thank you for inviting me again.
Yeah,
on your
what
show.
a pleasure, yes. Yeah. What a day, what a week. What happened today?
It's an important day for U.S. democracy, right?
Yes.
A video came out from the White House today. What was it?
It was a very well-produced video. President Biden officially announced his candidacy for re-election to the presidency of the United States exactly 4 years after he had previously run. It was kind of unexpected. We expected him to do something. We didn't expect him to release an early morning video of this. We actually thought it might be in the Rose Garden. That's why we were here today, was to witness that event. But that's not the way it happened. However, there have been middling reviews. While some people love the production quality, it almost is reminiscent of Reagan Morning in America, where President Biden is saying, "Look, I'm looking for the soul of America," featuring working class people, featuring his running mate, Kamala Harris, featuring his push for industrialization, for the CHIPS Act, and for all the issues that he's fought for. There was another issue that we discussed on the way over to the White House, and what was that?
Yeah, 4 years ago, I was in Pennsylvania covering his
same here
launch.
Yes,
launch over there. But President Biden has his unique way of campaigning. His lowest start,
right?
Quiet start. Still 18 months away from here. Right. So after this video was launched, I have been talking to a few of the Democrats and other Republicans to get a feel what the sense is from the ground. The initial feedback that has come to me that the video did not result in enthusiasm among the Democratic base. In the sense of it didn't turn out good effectively into a fundraising thing. Some of the fundraisers we talked to, they're expecting to raise around, maybe I will give you a figure of around $100. They were able to raise around $5 today.
This is the brand of Biden, and that is that he's always looking for the moderate wing. Remember, in his campaign 4 years ago, he had so little money that his campaign aides recommended that he take a $10,000 home equity loan in order to continue his campaign. And part of what President Biden represents is not to be that excitable candidate to stoke the base, but to seek moderation, to bring people together. And that is actually the essence of democracy, is to find the middle ground. But this is not good for fundraising. And this is the biggest problem, is that President Biden is a person that so believes in looking for the moderate, for the mid-track, that he is willing to give up the rewards of pugilism in order to...
I am the one who firmly believes that the money shouldn't have a big role in domestic or any elections campaign, and that should not be reflected, right, in the results, right? This should be the barometer of who is popular, who is not popular. If that was the case, then there have been several candidates in the past who would have won the race because they raised more money. That shouldn't be the case this time again.
I totally agree with you. Well, we really see this in the House elections, where candidates have to run every 2 years. And why do people like Marjorie Taylor Greene behave the way they do? Because they're huge fundraisers. By being as outrageous as they humanly are, they raise millions and millions of dollars because of their stupidity and what they say. And President Biden is the exact opposite to that trend.
Having said that, I think and I believe this is going to be the most expensive election ever in American politics. My sense is that the Democrats or President Biden campaign are going to raise around $2 billion. And same is going to come up from the Trump campaign as well. You know, President Trump has raised a lot of money. Florida Governor DeSantis, who is said to be one of the potential candidates for the Republican Party, he's also raised a lot of money. There's a lot of money in his kitty.
These days, it was Dirksen who said this: $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Pretty soon it adds up to real money. As remember, in the 2016 campaign, Jeb Bush raised $100 million, and that bought him nothing. And that was a long time ago, 2016. Nowadays, it's going to be billions of dollars that are going to have to be raised for whomever is going to win the presidency of the United States. So we have a long way ahead. But here's a fun fact, really, I think in one little parable shows President Biden's embrace of bipartisanship. And that is that when he met we've got the White House coming, the truck coming through.
Yeah, we are having a state dinner today. It's a South Korean president.
South Korean president. So they're having a state dinner. So that's what and so we see South Korean, everything here. But so when President Biden met Jill Biden, there was one friend of his that introduced those two. You know who that was?
No, I don't know. Can you tell us?
That was John McCain.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Wow.
So you can see the bind. I mean, President Biden truly believes in bridging gaps and finding that middle ground. And that's what he's going to have to do both. He's going to have to find that, but he's also going to have to stoke passion enough to get people to come out and vote. Because people don't vote in this country. They just don't. I mean...
But I must tell you, the Democratic Party of the last 3 presidential campaigns have generated a kind of a system, a mechanism of the hundreds and thousands of volunteers which helps people come out and vote.
That's correct. And President Obama his team had figured out that just because they looked over voting rolls and they figured out who wasn't voting. And they found just by letting people know, by the way, we know you didn't vote. It humiliated them. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to go vote. So little things help a lot. It's social pressure, anything, but it's not hard to vote. Americans, we should just be voting.
It's very important for any democratic country that people should go out and vote.
That's exactly right. And so with that, we'll end this today. And
I had one more question. Who do you think would be his Republican challenger?
It's going to be Donald Trump. I mean, the fact is that there is nobody that garners such a passionate following as Donald Trump. Could he get? I do believe he could still be elected president. However, it's a very narrow win for him because he's got maybe this 30% of Republicans, maybe 18% of the general populace that actually that is firmly allied to him. But he's got huge negativities. Both President Biden and former President Trump are underwater when it comes to their popular ratings. But former President Trump is much lower, and there is no way that he is going to get one more vote. People who don't like him really don't like him. People who like him really like him. There's no middle ground with former President Trump.
He is a polarizing figure, and I can tell you he's still very popular among his base.
Yes, he is, and his base will not give up. They will vote for him because he got indicted. They'll vote for him because he gets indicted again. There is nothing that anybody can do to convince his base that maybe he's not looking out for their interests.
Well, we'll keep on informing you how the election cycle goes out from here till November 2024. Till then, keep on watching us coming here every week.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
You bet.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Same here.